video transmission. Working on the live stream. Come on. Ghastly Hallows, and I'm accompanied today by...
This is Red.
And Bolt. How are you guys doing tonight? Morning, evening, wherever you guys are coming from.
Yes, everybody out there listening in podcast land. Merry Christmas.
And happy belated Hanukkah.
Yes, belated
and
Hanukkah.
Insert other holidays here too.
You're supposed to say have a quasi Kwanzaa, tip tot tet, and a solemn.
Yeah, no. They're not sponsoring me. They're not sponsoring me for that. No. Forget Hanukkah.
Wait. Who would sponsor you for Kwanzaa?
Someone's gonna have to. I don't know who. Did they figure that out?
Did Tyler Perry? Would it be Tyler Perry?
Let's aim for something reasonable. But yes, that would be an ideal sponsor. If you're listening.
Tyler Perry, I take back every single bad thing I ever said about your terrible fucking Medea movies. If you'll just throw a bit of change my way.
Nobody knew about those things until you just said it.
I mean, I will gladly take it all back. I've said it on numerous times in public forums.
No, my dad didn't inspire the Wild.
But I'm not a fan of those films. So,
Films.
you know, there are better things I could be devoted my time to than watching a Tyler Perry film.
Wow, you're just gonna flush down a good opportunity down the drain in such record fashion. That is
fine.
Almost impressive.
I'll show my diversity right now. Aaron Magruder, I've never badmouthed your show. I would gladly accept your sponsorship if, you'll ever give me some. Because I completely agree with what you said about Tyler Perry and your band episode. See, I bet you guys don't even know who Aaron Magruder is.
I have no idea.
I'm just gonna post the link to the to the podcast right now on my phone because I can't do it on my desktop computer.
Aaron Magruder is the guy who writes the Boondocks.
Oh, that guy.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's a lead artist, lead writer for the Boondocks.
Yeah, he did the comic, but beforehand too, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And dude wrote an episode where he went into Tyler Perry and he went hard.
Oh yeah, I did read about that.
And I had that episode on Blu-ray, on DVD for like the longest time.
Didn't Tyler Perry go after the network?
He went after the network, the conglomerate, so much so that the Boondocks, I don't know if it's still up on Max, but you can't watch that episode now. That episode is pretty much banned material.
Hold on, let me check to see.
It's pretty much you can't get your hands on that episode now. And that's some shit. You went hard. Because he does produce a lot of his terrible fucking movies for a lot of studios. So they banned he got them banned successfully.
What is the name of that
find
episode?
It on eBay.
Shit. Something Jerome.
Okay. Yeah, I'm looking on HBO.
Winston Jerome.
On Max now. Jerome. Do you remember what season that is?
Season
I know
2.
we're way off topic. Season 2. Okay.
Oh, man, that's Tyler.
Doing this the wrong way, but this is gonna bug me.
Season 3, episode 8.
Okay, so that is not here.
Pause. That's the one with the term pause.
Oh.
No homo.
Oh, that's episode 7.
Episode 7.
It's on here.
3. It's on there? Ooh,
yeah, pause is on here.
Yes. That movie, that episode legit gives you what's the best way to put it? The exact outline and template of every Tyler Perry movie. verbatim. It is not even like it. There is no there is no chill in that episode. he goes for the neck, he goes for the jugular, and he goes hard for that jugular. Like you could tell that like there was like just I'm going for it and fuck you and fuck your filmmaking, Tyler Perry. He goes hard. Like that is a must watch. So again, Aaron Magruder, I apologize for. Actually, no, I have nothing to apologize to you for. I've been.
Yeah, you didn't say anything bad about you.
Fuck Tyler Perry.
Don't take yourself deeper than you need to.
Medea has never made me laugh. Unironically, it's only made me laugh at how terrible it is. I did pay money to see the second Medea movie because somebody really wanted me to go to the movies with them, so I went to see it and it sucked. That guy's a serial killer by the end of those movies. Nobody likes to talk about that. But yes, you want something scary? Put on Medea's Christmas movie, where Medea accidentally walks into a house full of clan members. Yeah, that actually does happen in that movie. She walks into a house full of clan members at the middle of a meeting, and then she goes to hang out with Larry the Cable Guy. Yeah.
Who is not a clan member?
Allegedly.
Not in. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say that's a plot twist.
Allegedly. And then she goes to
Allegedly.
Allegedly. That's the most useful word in the English language.
yes, it is. Allegedly. Allegedly, he's not a clan member. But yes.
Allegedly, it's like the verbal equivalent of winking.
Mm-hmm. Allegedly, we don't know. We have no proof or suspicions that Tyler Perry might be that is associated or affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, along with Mitch McConnell and Alex Jones and all those other people that are most likely members. We have no evidence of any of that. Allegedly.
I'm gonna have to sit you both down in like a basic 101 PR class, aren't I? So, next year, because this year is already screwed. So we're gonna try this again next year.
How much
When we do the
damage?
rebranding, we change all our names.
Not like we can do any more damage to those people than they already did to
Oh.
their own reputation.
Just when you think you can't do any more damage, that's when you find out how much more damage you can do.
This week on Ghastly Hallows gets canceled.
Hold on a minute. Let me find the right music for that one.
I'm gonna put like soundboard on our Christmas list.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
But at the same time, I don't want to give Pumpkin Jack that ability. But at the same time, I kind of want to.
Right. Say it one more time, Red. This week. Missed the key.
This week on the Ghastly Hallows gets canceled.
I'm pretty sure only one person can hear that between the three of us, right?
It wasn't me.
Mm-hmm. I love It's
Oh,
Always
yeah.
Sunny in Philadelphia. That's a great fucking show. That's what my life would be like if I were living in Philadelphia. So, yes. On today's subject, now that we have once again, the person I've chosen to, is it picking on Tyler Perry when I badmouth him to the extent that I did today?
Yes.
Well, the person that justifiably got my wrath this week, Tyler Perry, all things aside from him. Today we want to talk about how Christmas actually has a...
I feel like we should have like a corkboard with a picture of every celebrity that there is, and we just have to take a marker and cross one off every time we trash them on air. That way we can keep track and set our ambitions clearly.
That sounds like work. And there are so many people.
And if there's one thing that podcasting isn't, it's work.
I mean, if we must, the best solution the best solution for this would be, you have to get a globe and try and find a way to put the pictures of most of the celebrities in the area, and then that way, when I finish an entire country's worth of celebrities, I will do a giveaway. I'll give you a shirt or something to a lucky winner who subscribes to our podcast. When I finish hating on all of the celebrities in that region, the United States will never be finished, I will gladly go ahead and give you guys a t-shirt. Wherever you are around the world. You'll
Very
get
nice.
our fabulous logo here on our podcast and a nice black cotton shirt the day I finish. That's a good promotion. I finish making fun of a celebrity
Good
from
promotion.
another country.
Oh my goodness. Which country would you start off with?
Well, so far, America is in the lead.
Oh, because it has the most people to make fun of.
It's like, congratulations to all our fans in the United Arab Emirates.
Yeah.
Free giveaway.
I mean, I will roast them for allowing Furious 7 to be filmed in their country. That was
Well, you know how many countries allow the Fast and Furious movies to be filmed?
particularly Furious 7, where like they went through 2 skyscrapers, the car that would be crushed like a can. Okay, anyways, back to the subject. It matters.
Horror and Christmas.
Yes.
Horror and Christmas. Discuss.
Yes. So, as I've been looking up for like the past few days, and this is something that's actually come up a lot in my time doing this and doing TikTok and being a huge Halloween enthusiast, I've actually been sort of the anti-Christmas person to a lot of folks, despite the fact that I do enjoy celebrating it. Because Christmas, as much as a lot of us don't know, has its roots in horror. And in some places, it sort of was like the follow-up to Day of the Dead in some cultures. I believe in Roman culture during the festival of Saturnalia, there was also the idea that the loved ones on the other side would come home for the night and party with everybody who was partying throughout the entire celebration of Saturnalia, which would go on to become Christmas. And in other cultures, we still celebrate it here. In other cultures, they celebrated Yule, which is pretty much, I think, is Saturnalia, but more so on the eastern bloc of Europe, right? Would I be correct in saying that one? Further out, we get Yule, which is more or less what we celebrate today as Christmas. It has all the same themes with Christmas giving, holly, pine, the bells, all that good stuff comes out of Yule. The mulled wine, the log, the burning, the good luck, the fortune, the kids enjoying and the people being judged, the reindeer flying through the sky, Saint Nick, all that good stuff has been associated with Christmas now as a part of Yule. And then there's stuff that's been forgotten over the years, which, thanks to a film in 2015, mainstream audiences in America were reintroduced to the legend that's so celebrated out in Eastern Europe of Krampus, the anti-Santa Claus. If you were a bad kid and you just got a complaint, call from Santa, you got off light. Back in the day, Krampus would come to your house, kick the ever-loving crap out of you, stick you in a sack, kick the ever-loving crap out of you, and then he would take you to the North Pole, and then you would be the one building the toys for a year until he took you back home. That's one of the legends that I heard. So Santa doesn't have elves, in one of the legends that I heard. Krampus provides little children who will learn to be good by working in the sweatshop for Santa for the year. Any thoughts on that?
Red, I'll let you take the lead on this one. I have some questions and thoughts.
That's horrifying. Why? That's mean. Don't tell the kids that.
I feel like between the three of us, we know a few little shits that should be sent to go work out on those fields with Santa, no?
They're not adult. I mean, they're not kids. They're not kids. Honestly, I feel like kids are like, like if you just give them a good amount of trauma in the right way, they will get the message. I feel like this, like Krampus, is more for adults. But the thing is, no one wants a kidnap. I'm an adult. That's actually we can call it kidnap. You're just abducting at that point.
Yeah,
and
it like
having them
adds to the already long list of sketchy things that Santa is like advertising that he's up to.
Breaking and entering, petty larceny. Yes, I'm counting him eating your food larceny because you pay for those. Damn
it. but you leave it out for him in tribute, bro.
But I'm like.
A tribute? Excuse me? Like, why is a guy who gets to break into my house get a tribute and then doesn't allow me to get to say what I want?
Shit, dude.
If you are objectively good under his moral standards, if you somehow mess up, you get coal, which kind of sucks to have.
Does it?
I mean, if you don't have a coal-powered car.
I mean, that's something that's only useless to modern kids that don't have to directly burn the coal to heat the house.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day, I'm pretty sure my dad would have not my dad. My great grandfather would have loved a piece of coal in the middle of the winter as opposed to getting some fucking train toy, which he was probably gonna be like, you'd enjoyed it for 5 minutes. I'm throwing this in the fire so I can keep warm. Fuck you. And
that's what they made toys for back then.
Yep. Like Eddie Murphy skit. I ate the toys, Eddie. We didn't have no toys to play with. My daddy burnt the toys, Eddie. He burnt the toys and we was happy and it was delicious. Who the fuck you gonna go complain to?
Eddie Murphy, man.
But consider yourself lucky if all he did was burn your fucking, just give you a piece of coal. Like, you're gonna knock the shit out of you. Over in other parts of the world, they're knocking the shit out of you, and they are sending you to the North Pole to go make toys for Santa. Or I can actually tell you an even more worse association for the elves, but I want you guys to wax a little bit on this one.
I never heard about like the slave labor part of it. Was this something that they would actually tell to children?
Yeah.
Like with the intention of the children believing them?
Yeah.
Or maybe half believing them.
No. It's one of those things, right? Like when you're a kid, do you want to test that one?
Right. Yeah, exactly. It's
know.
like when your mom starts counting 1, 2, and you don't know what happens when she gets to 3, but you don't want to find out because there's only one way to find out.
Yeah, like it's one of those moments. Like, do you want to fuck with that? Maybe not.
Yeah.
That's one of those, like, maybe not. Maybe let me not fuck with this one. I am going to be a good boy and stop myself before, the belt comes out. Which we know is primed to come out, like, at any minute with these things. Lord knows.
Yeah.
I'm the first
one.
one.
Yeah, I mean,
The sandal was used on me and not the one.
Scaring the kids better than him.
No, scaring the kids, you were saying. Like, it was a thing, right?
You're scaring me.
If it gets the job done, it gets the job done. But I don't promote it. I do not promote it. I do not
Here on the
promote
What was
Ghastly
that about
Hallows.
PR, Bolt?
Yeah, what about PR? Here on the Ghastly Hallows, just letting
Sorry,
you know that
I dropped the character.
we support children beatings within certain reason. You know, if your kid is running around the supermarket like a little asshole, and you don't want to catch a child custody beef, you can beat them, right?
Just like that.
Pun-
I mean,
it is a thing, right? Like that's what happened with Krampus. Like he is essentially one of the horror figures, but it's meant.
if it's good enough for Krampus, right?
It's good enough for Krampus, and I'll go further out on a few more limbs here, just just to get you guys going on this one. If you go to Norway, I think Eastern Europe, like Norway, Germany, all that block over there where Krampus is observed, people are cheering when Krampus comes out. Like when they have their Christmas parades, people cheer and
It's a sense of justice.
yeah, like they cheer when Krampus comes out. Like people are like, "Ah, there comes Krampus!" Yeah, and they're all like happy and shit when they see the creepy goat man walk out with the sack of like little monsters behind him, and they're all like, "Yeah, Krampus, Krampus!" all cheering and shit because they know he's coming to beat up all the bad kids.
So, what does Krampus traditionally look like? I've seen that movie that was made by that guy who directed Trick or Treat.
I forgot his name.
What's like the traditional image of Krampus, or are there many?
So there's a few, but there's like a few things that carry out through time. So this is where my Christian demonologist side is going to come through. My John Constantine knowledge of demon. He looks like the Lamia. That's like the most common description. He's a humanoid type thing.
Okay.
Like he's a large, sort of like human-looking faced monster with a demonic, sharp teeth and goat feet and goat horns sticking out of his head, like large, pointy sort of Loki-esque goat horns sticking out of his head. And he has a large sack. And to my understanding, his sled is not led by a reindeer, but it's actually like just, I think he moves the sled on its own. Something like that.
That sounds horrible.
So his sled is a shopping cart.
Like basically, yeah. Like
he's like standing there behind.
Yeah.
Okay.
He carries the slave of all the bad kids. Like that's where you go. Like you misbehave, into Krampus's sack you go, and off to the North Pole to go build the toys for the good kids.
Okay. So it's a no horse closed sleigh.
Sort of, yeah. And then like you're abducted. Or like in that movie, he just kidnaps all of you, scares you, and then puts you back in your house to teach you a lesson.
Maybe that's where all the alien abduction stories come from. It's just Krampus abductions.
Yeah, but he only is active during the Advent season.
Well,
well, that's something to look up. Do alien abduction reports increase around Christmas?
actually, when I was in junior high, I heard a really weird sort of Santa cryptid story. I don't know if you guys have ever told you guys that story. I think there's I think there's a Reddit thread about it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this. Like the Santa stories. Like I'm pretty sure the explanation is just like somebody gave their kids a gift, right? And like nobody wants to fess up to who did it.
Mm-hmm.
So one story that I heard as a kid, this guy I knew got Street Fighter Alpha 3. You guys have heard of that game, right? Old school fighting game on PlayStation.
Mm-hmm.
His parents, according to him, neither of his parents gave him that gift. And the reason why he was dead sure about it was because when they found it underneath, like, when you're Hispanic, right, you celebrate Christmas two ways. Some people do it in the morning, the traditional TV way, and then Hispanics, we have something we call Noche Buena, or the good night, which is we party all day, all night, and then we open gifts at midnight, because that's technically the 25th, right? And then the 25th is just a day of like relaxing and observance, and just mellow out and go back to work on the 26th, right, to round out the year. So this kid opened presents all night, and this game was not in the list. And then the following morning, there was the quote unquote Santa presents that some kids got, and there's that one Santa present which we're adults here, and I hope no children are listening to me as I say this. The Santa presents that were gotten for you, right? He found those, and then among them was this one game that neither of his parents wanted him to play because they didn't want him to play fighting games. Both parents were equally pissed that he had that, and all of the adults around him, his grandma, his uncles, were all on the boat like, we don't override your parents, we didn't get you that. To this day, the last time I had spoken to him anyway, he never figured out who gave him that. It was like one of those things, like he never knew. It was a random present, and to him it's kind of like I really wanted that game because he loves to do animation. He loved like the Japanese animation, and it was a very easily accessible game for us at the time, like in 02, like 01, 02. And he's like, I really wanted to play it because I love the art style, but he never found out who gave him that.
So it's a nice little unsolved mystery.
Yeah, and then I went to Reddit, and there are other stories which is kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
They're coming for me.
Is this?
I told you. I told you all the
Santa
stuff
Claus
you've been
truck?
talking
Hold on.
about is gonna land you in prison. I told you. This is why we have the PR classes.
It's like, but this is Tyler Perry. Oh God, no!
Imagine.
No, guys.
If it were Tyler Perry, I would open the door and he would shout, "Hallelujah!" And he'd come and beat the shit out of me for like a couple minutes, as I was shocked that what just happened.
At least you get a good musical and a story out of it.
He
would.
He would beat you up and then he would dress you up as Medea.
See, that would be my own personal Krampus hell, wouldn't it?
Right? Yeah. It's kind of like the end of. It's kind of like the end of Freaks when they make her into it. When they make her into a chicken, he just dresses you up as Medea and leaves you.
He uses me there as Medea, and he's like, my movies bring so many people happiness, and I dress up myself like this. Now you're gonna see what it's like to do the whole day long, because you know how I would. And at that point, I'm like, please just kill me. Please give me the warm, sweet embrace of death. Before having to listen to you again. At which point, he doesn't. He just keeps on talking. And talking like all those movies are. Him just talking. I would rather get beaten up by fucking Krampus. He just keeps on talking. But yes.
It's funny. Like, do you think Krampus can exist in a modern world?
He does.
The way things are now. I mean, not as well as he did when he first debuted.
What is it that makes you think that he might not be able to?
With like people's growing, for lack of a better term, dissatisfaction with traditional tutelage of Christian theologies growing up. And the type that I'm thinking of, just we're just gonna hammer in Old Testament teachings until we break you on some sort of level that you're gonna need therapy to recover, or multiple visits to churches to maybe or maybe not heal. But until then, here you are. These are gonna function as your set of morals until you're an adult, which no one's gonna actually listen to because why the hell would they?
I mean, I think the reason why Krampus is interesting to us is precisely because it doesn't seem to jive with how we think children should be taught morals. Maybe not necessarily the morals they should be taught, but the method, because it does seem cruel, doesn't it, to threaten children with slave labor so that they eat their broccoli or something.
But it's like you literally to go as far as descriptively telling children there's a like the equivalent of the Christmas devil is gonna come into our home, put you in his bag, beat you, and then put you into forced slave labor for the benefit of other children that did not act the way that you did. Like, how is a kid
lesson to be a good kid? Now, shouldn't it? You little shit.
It's like little Timmy becomes an example.
Mm-hmm. Cue the "It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia" music right there.
I don't know. At least it feels like for me, like the best lies to tell the children are things that are not elaborate. Because, like, if you had to explain in such like intricate detail how things are gonna go south for you if you don't listen to mommy and daddy, they're more likely to limit test that. It's like, you know what? Yeah, I'm gonna test. I'm gonna call bullshit. I'm gonna aggravate you. I'm gonna act like a little piece of crap, just so the equivalent of a goat demon breaks into our home, beats the crap out of me, and then ruins my whole summer. Because now I'm stuck in some unknown place, working for some fat man, and making choices for him.
How does Krampus enter your house?
That's a good
Santa
question.
comes down the chimney, but what does Krampus do?
Does
he just
down
the door?
Oh no, he takes a sled. He just drives through the front door.
He drives through the front door. Oh, okay.
I think, if I'm not mistaken, it's the same way Santa goes in. So, like, some kids will be like, "Oh no, Santa came. I knew he would come. I knew I was a good boy." And then he comes out like, "You took a piss in the holy water and the predator wrapped his face in it. You're coming with me." You know, the Lavender Town music starts playing. "Come, little children, come with me." Yeah, I believe Bolt's brain might have fried on that one.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Well, you don't know the Lavender Town song? "Come, little children, come with me.
Can't say that I do.
Dancing together we will be. Come."
Yeah.
Hypno's Lullaby, you never heard that one before?
Mm-mm.
That's on their Christmas album, right?
Yeah, what, do you know the story of Hypno?
No, I don't.
The Pokemon Hypno?
No.
Oh, that's a fun story. That's a really fun. I don't know why they allow that in a children's game. You know, if all those protests about Pokemon being demonic, you know, that if they actually played and looked at that Pokédex entry, you know, they actually had some valid claims.
So, the original story in the original Pokemon, in the Pokédex entry, Hypno is a Pokemon. He's the evolution of Drowsy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, in the original Pokédex entry, it says, Hypno once lured a child that it hypnotized away from its parents. That's all it says. Random Pokemon entry, that's just all
Really?
it says.
So, like a Pokemon kidnapped a child.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the least of the things that series has done to children. If it makes you feel better.
Yeah, like that was legitimately the whole thing. Fucking Hypno abducted a kid.
That's some role reversal. The Pokemon catches you.
Yep. In Pokemon Fire
In
Red,
Soviet Russia, Pokemon catches
you.
you.
It's a good thing it's stat wise it's not that good. It's like below average or it's mediocre. But you know, that doesn't stop the fact that a child is missing.
There's a kid missing out there that this fucking guy kidnapped.
We must do something about this fictional child.
We'll just make sequels and never address it ever again.
Which is pretty much what happened. They just never addressed it. That was the end of that shit. But
yeah, they kept doubling, triple down, if anything. They just went to other Pokemon and said, "Hey, let's one up this Hypno thing. Hey, you know there's other Pokemon that could kill you in 10 different ways."
I mean, I think we're due for another Pokemon reboot. Maybe we can resolve this.
It depends on which generation, but you know that's a topic for another day. There are a lot of horror elements in Pokemon which they're fun to discuss.
Oh yeah, no, like Pokemon has its own set of creepy shit throughout all those games. To those of you getting Pokemon under the Christmas tree this year, just be aware. There's even a haunted ghostly story with blue version that came out at some point in 2009. We'll go into that on another day.
Lavender Town, the trauma.
Not just Lavender Town. There's some more shit out there with
Pokemon. You had the war.
Yeah.
the war. There was like 2 wars actually in that. You know, we're getting off topic.
But yes. So back to Krampus beating up kids, righteously so.
Yeah, with the way the internet has like given people the ability to assess information, true or otherwise, like you can just desensitize to the idea of as a child. I'm speaking you just desensitize yourself to the notion of, oh, there's some like mythical creature that is coming to beat the crap out of me and make me work for free.
You're saying that like
so
you're saying that telling myths to kids just doesn't work anymore because they're easily falsifiable.
Yeah, it's just like there's so much crazy crap that's out there now. It's just like this is nothing to them. Yeah, like things will have to be real in order for people to like get like shaken. But even if it does happen, like if once it goes away, it's like it's like it never happened. You have to start all over again.
What about you, Bolt? Red, do you think that Krampus would be effective these days?
I'm not quite sure how people. I think that it depends on where you are, probably. I mean, maybe to Bolt's point, how much access you have to information. But I mean, from what I can tell, there isn't a lot of use of myths and stories to inculcate morals into kids. You know, I don't have kids, so I'm actually not sure how people do that. At least in a secular setting. You know, because we still have religious stories, but as far as kind of like local myths and just kind of the spooky stories that people have told kids to keep them in line in the past, that strikes me as maybe something that still happens in rural areas, but I'm not sure how common it is. And even if it did work, I mean, the Krampus story, it just seems kind of cruel to make your kid believe that, knowing that it's not true. I think that might be part of what has led people away from using that kind of method to make their kids well behaved and sufferable to the world.
I mean, the old boogeyman approach.
The old boogeyman approach, yeah.
Because I know, like in Eastern, like again, like places like Sweden and all those places where he originated from, they're still very much using Krampus, right? And,
oh yeah,
like,
yeah, and I mean,
Krampus's friend or something like that.
Yeah, and I mean that's part of what I'm saying. It depends on where you are, because like in suburban and urban America, I feel like that kind of thing is not as prevalent.
Yeah, here in the States, I don't think anybody ever really bought into the folklore stuff like that. Well, I know I did, but like as an adult, it's all done. Once the veil is lifted,
Yeah.
that's kind of it. But I remember though, like I said, uh, being a kid and always being like very conscious, like sometimes throughout the year. If I misbehave, Santa won't come. You know, that was like a very big part of when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
These days, I see with my niece and nephew that like Santa is very much alive in their hearts and spirit, but I don't hear that kind of thing much anymore when it comes to that being the bellwether of behaving or misbehaving.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Parents are doing that less, but I think parents should kind of go back to the old school way where like instead of we need a bigger house for this one kid so there's room to run around in and do his thing. Nah, keep acting up. I can't beat you and go to school, but Krampus is gonna beat you. That's right.
Right.
Do you want a PlayStation or do you want a beating from Krampus? PlayStation, then you be good.
It's not a hard choice.
Because if he comes to school with like a bunch of F's and notes, I'll put on the goddamn goat outfit and the weird glowing eyes contacts and walk in there with a belt and do business.
Right, yeah.
Oh, you can't use the belt. They know it's you. You have to use something that only Krampus would do.
I look like your father. You should have known better. There you go.
I loved it.
Yep.
You got the part. You're on your way, kid.
Yay!
Let's talk about A Christmas Carol.
Yes, but
So-
Bolt is still crapping himself over there. You all right?
Yeah.
Okay, we're good.
I ain't desensitized. I don't know. You got the idea. I'm like,
It was
it
just
soiled myself.
There was a lot of quiet and just
You can't face him.
Yeah.
I was trying to fake fear. I couldn't do it. So.
Well, actually, no. You had me going there for a second. Silence was good. You win the other part.
The
But
man who can't be scared.
I'll tell you what.
And yet he's on a horror podcast.
Yep, I'll tell you what scares Bolt. Hey man, why don't you send me some pictures?
Oh my goodness. I just feel like
Actually,
vomiting. I don't feel scared. I just feel like I need to vomit. And put on.
That's a
clothes.
kind of fear, I think.
Yeah, that's a projection of the fear. Yeah, right.
That's not fear. That's just pain. Fear and pain are two different things.
But yes, so
What is fear but projected pain, man?
that is right, which is why we're going to the fear and pain of what was Charles Dickens thinking when he wrote A Christmas Carol? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking. I think he thought, like, you know what? I'm tired of being poor. Let's go write a pamphlet of meaningful stuff to rich, annoying people, and maybe it'll fix things. I'd give it to him. If he were to try that nowadays, I would laugh at him, because nothing would have gotten done if he did that nowadays.
Actually, I'm gonna play devil's advocate on that one for a minute.
Okay.
Stuff like that actually does kind of work today. The problem is we're kind of looking back at stuff from back in the day, which worked. So to kind of preface what I'm trying to say is the way Bolt just described A Christmas Carol more or less was how its origins came to be. So A Christmas Carol was written by Charles Dickens in an era where pretty much the Industrial Revolution was kicking in full swing, right? We finally were kind of entering what's now the modern day, modern era. And there was a lot of rich folks, especially in his part of the world, where some of them had way too much money. Sounds familiar a little bit like today, doesn't it? And he wrote essentially a pamphlet, basically kind of like unloading his thoughts on how this whole thing is pretty much bullshit. Like, these people should not have all this money. These people should not be sitting in such control, especially when some of them maybe only inherited money, or some of them, didn't really, they earned it, and they're just like, they're off their rocker. Like, they don't believe in sharing or spending or doing anything, where there's so many people like stuck in poorhouses and poverty. So he wrote a legit pamphlet, and I think it was published. The newsletter was published, and it did nothing. Matter of fact, people laughed at him. Like, it's not, doesn't do anything. So as he was sitting there, he's like, you know what's a way to get this? What's a way to do this? I'm gonna have to scare the shit out of these people. That's the only way anyone might listen to me, if I scare the shit out of them. So he sat down, based on two rich people in like the area of England where he was living at. He created a character who was an old rich miser. You guys know the name?
The name?
The name of the character he created, yes?
Ebenezer Scrooge?
Ebenezer Scrooge.
I was gonna say, is this a trick question?
Yes.
Well, it is because like the actual person was known for like giving money away. He was basically he was a stickler for himself, but in terms of like giving, in terms of other people and his own children, he had a hole in his wallets.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, didn't he loan a guy like $6,000 on a horse race bet when the guy lost the money?
Yes, he did.
He's like, meh.
Yes, he did. And then he left his children the equivalent of 35 million US dollars.
Yep. Because he never spent a dime on himself.
Yes.
But like Dickens' point, that's a lot of money that's just sitting there that people that were less fortunate could have used. Now, yes, this guy was giving it out, but it could have so many more productive things could have been done with that.
Rather than just giving it to his kids.
No, not just giving it to his kids, but like he was giving it out to he was doing weird shit with it.
Okay. So not all charitable stuff, or at least not worthy.
Yeah, not
charitable.
Not like productive charitable things,
okay.
Right? Like,
yeah, like that guy who really lost it on betting horses.
Yeah.
Like, no, he didn't deserve that money. Let's be real.
Like, there are people that are going through extreme shit. They've got like maybe 2-3 kids because abortions aren't a thing, So like they've got all these kids, they're working their asses off, and meanwhile like there's one guy over there just sitting on that much money, and he's just giving it out to his friends or people in the neighborhood that might be near him, when he could be doing so much more if he doesn't want to use it on himself. At least use it right. That was kind of like the idea. So he publishes A Christmas Carol as a horror story for rich people. That's what A Christmas Carol was intended to be. It was a horror story that he knew was going to get circulated among rich people, which he hoped would scare rich people into at least, maybe having a change of heart and having reflection.
It's Krampus for adults.
Yes, like basically it is. Like the idea is we scare you into being good. And what's funny is that story has been, unfortunately, watered down and made into a child-friendly story. Fuck the Muppets version.
Oh, hold on.
Yep. Yeah, I'm gonna say
this is where we come to blows.
Yeah, we're gonna come to blows here. You can get in line behind whoever else is coming after me this week.
I'll lead the charge.
But in all seriousness, when
you bastard.
I'll say it flat out though. Like, seriously, when you look at this story, right, it's essentially like a story about a dude who is basically a piece of shit to himself, to everyone around him, because he's sitting on so much money. His friend who dies shows up to him in chains and tells him, if you don't change your ways, you're going to wind up like me. But nothing. Because fucking Ebenezer took the 2 coins out of his eyes in the Jim Carrey version. Tuppences. So he does this shit, and then like he's subjected to 3 ghosts showing him the error and the terrible behavior that led him to become the miserable old bastard that he is. Mm-hmm. Right? But let's interrupt all that by having a bunch of fucking puppets sing for about 30 minutes at a time with some really annoying ass love song in between some other points of time. And let's just continue to watch the pig fuck the frog for a couple more minutes while they all talk and hang around. Like, and his friend that's like super fucking scary, we're just gonna replace him with one of those other ghosts. Ebenezer!
There are other versions of this story, right? I mean, they're still watered down, but I feel like you have a particular issue with this version of it.
Yes, I have a particular issue with that version because everybody comes up to me and goes, "It's the best version." No, it's not.
Who? You know what? No, never mind. I keep forgetting that we live in a world and a timeline when people just can't help themselves and say stupid things like that.
Oh, see, you're pissing off one of our third co-hosts right now, Bo.
I'm fuming. I'm fuming.
Okay, I'll rephrase.
With rage. I'm as hot as the Christmas goose that Rizzo the rat falls on through the chimney.
See?
Oh my god. I will preface by saying I have not paid attention and or seen many, if not all, of these retellings of the story.
If you, I mean, it depends on what you mean by the best version. Do you mean the most faithful to the original? Well, in that case, of course it's not. I mean, it's got the Muppets in it. If you're talking maybe the best Scrooge performance, I think Michael Caine is definitely in line for that. If you're talking, I don't know what else, but I mean, my defense of it would be it's the version that I just enjoy the most.
That's perfectly fine. If you enjoy that the most.
Because I like the combination of kind of like the dreary drama and the silliness of the Muppets. It's still a kids movie, so some of the darker themes are removed.
Naturally so.
Yeah.
My favorite one is the 84 one with George Scott.
George C. Scott.
Yep.
Yeah. The guy who played Patton, and he refused to do a British accent.
Yep.
So, like, for some reason, he's the only guy that doesn't have a British accent in the whole movie.
But he doesn't sound too bad, though. He has, like, this raspy voice throughout the whole
thing. No. It's not a bad performance.
But when I see Scrooge in my head, like when I was a kid and I would see all the Scrooge films, because there's like so many fucking Scrooge movies. There's that one with Bill Murray too.
Yeah. It's been adapted, I mean, literally hundreds of times.
Yeah, if not thousands.
Maybe even thousands, yeah. On film, at least, not counting stage adaptations, like kids' books, TV specials.
Scrooge
whatever else,
McDuck became his own
Scrooge McDuck,
fucking character based off that. DuckTales.
I mean, that was predetermined when I just like the name alone, like a rich old figure. It's like there. It feels like any like morally or emotionally corrupt rich individual is going to get hit with this type of story motif.
Yeah, so I feel like that theme isn't lost.
It is lost in the Muppet one.
Do you think it's because of the way that Scrooge himself is handled, or because the Muppets are distracting?
It's
like if you remove the Muppets from that movie, what do you think?
I would be thinking the same thing Michael Caine was thinking.
And what's that?
The film would be far better if there were no Muppets in it. However, it was the only chance I would ever have to be Scrooge, so I played it as straightforward as I could.
Oh, has he said that?
I've heard, yeah, a few times.
Okay.
So, the
I heard that it like really took him some getting used to act with puppets.
yeah, because he hated the fact that he was acting with puppets, but he never thought he would ever get to be Scrooge again. Like
Okay.
Scrooge is apparently this role, right, that is sought after by
Mhm.
so many actors. Everyone
Right.
wants their one shot at Scrooge. So much so, whenever the opportunity presents itself, a lot of these guys give two shits and they just take it. Michael Caine being one. Another one was also Jim Carrey. And another one that I heard was the same situation, but at least he got like a formal live action one, was Patrick Stewart.
Yeah. Yeah. So he did. Patrick Stewart, I think that was a BBC TV version, but he also did a one man show version.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it's apparently like one of those roles that every actor at some point in time wants to try and do it. So for Michael Caine, he's like, the only time I am ever going to get this one is if I do it with the fucking puppets. I was with North London Mafia, but I'm gonna do Scrooge with fucking puppets. So they're like, have fun with it. He's like, no, fuck it. This is the only chance I'm ever gonna get to be Ebenezer Scrooge, and I'm gonna do it as straightforward as I can. And apparently, like, the only reason he agreed to do it, I have to verify this myself one day, is because
Mhm.
his kids were such big fans of the Muppets that he's like, oh god, that Ben Affleck meme, where he's standing outside with a cigarette.
Yep.
That
Yeah.
was Michael Caine. Like, he's like, fuck. All right, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. And he wound up doing it. And everyone's like, why
Uh-huh.
is he so straightforward? That's why. he
No, but I mean, I love that. I love the fact that he's so straightforward with it.
Yeah, it is. It's meant again. It hits home that he is someone that is very
See,
like
but
miserly.
this is where we dis. This is, I think, where we disagree. I think that his performance works within the Muppet world. Like, I like that kind of mixture of the sternness and the darkness, and just the goofiness of the Muppets. It kind of feels like Star Wars, where like in one scene you have this extremely um, tense situation, and then in the next scene there's just a bunch of puppets in a bar. It's fun. I like when movies combine those two things.
Although that wasn't the intent of the Muppet people when they set out to make that film.
So did they want Michael Caine to be more Muppet-ish?
Yeah, they wanted him to be more like how Jim Carrey played it in that movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, whether or not they intended it, I think the result is great. I mean, maybe I agree with Michael Caine that it would have been a bad idea for him to try to be a Muppet, because I don't think he's a comedic actor. I don't know if he's ever done anything. I mean, he's done comedies, but I think typically in his comedies he's the straight man.
Yeah, he's usually the straight man. He is. Michael Caine was one of those guys that he was like the heartthrob of his day. You wouldn't know
I
it
believe it.
now.
Yeah.
Like, I think he was almost Bond for a little while there. Like, he was always in
Yeah.
contention to be Bond, and he never got it.
Uh-huh.
He always
Yeah.
had that distinctive sound to him. That's
Yeah.
why he was in Austin Powers as the dad. But like A Christmas Carol, though, it goes back to one of those things. This Muppet one. I'm like, I hate this movie. Yeah, that movie. I actively avoid it every year, but here we are. coming out
Well, no one's perfect.
the fucking Muppet movie. When it comes to this one, though, like with him, it works because he is actually very, very, very creepy as like a very straightforward guy yelling at a frog. You know,
Yeah.
all of us would be like, yeah, I took a lot of acid to yell at this frog, but this guy just did. But back to like the oranges of the story, though, like it was intended to be one of those films that one of the books was intended to be a scary sort of like warning to the people around you. And the weirdest part is it was such a well told story that it still resonates to this day. Like, you know, it's a very big part of our culture in the West where it's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
when someone is being a dipshit that has money, we always refer to them as a fucking Scrooge.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. So, but I
always
mean,
do.
I think that's evidence that the theme of you know, encouraging the wealthy to be generous isn't lost in the way that we've turned the story into into a holiday tradition. Correct me if I'm wrong. Your issue seems to be that it's turned into that the story's been turned into something that's heartwarming and more akin to like
It's been turned into a
white
comedy.
white yeah like White Christmas or something sweet like that rather than a critique of like wealth inequality.
Yeah. Like that
Okay.
idea that, like, it's one of those things, right? Like, by seeing, and I hate to keep picking on the puppets, but it's because it's like people still come up to me and like
Leave
ask
the
me.
puppets alone. They can't defend themselves. You know they can't actually talk, right?
I fucking know they defend themselves, but I'm gonna yell at the guy who's dead. Let's see if he comes and haunts me on my Christmas Eve. Fucking Jim Henson. Let's see if that
Okay,
happens.
first of all, Jim Henson had died by the time they made that movie.
I know, but I'm about to take
Okay.
a shit on his work because even though he started out very adult with puppets, they've kind of come back and Disneyfied him. Fine then, you know what? I'm gonna fucking do this. I hope Walt Disney comes and haunts me right before I die, and I'm gonna look at him like, you know what, dude, you're a millionaire. I'm gonna be
He
just like
can't
you.
because he's still frozen.
Oh, you
Yeah,
you are aware of what happened to the first round of people who were cryogenically frozen, yeah? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Let's just say some of them are they were better off being buried. So, ugh, they're goo now. But yes, like the idea is though, like by having these things happen where like they have the puppets do it or they have the Disney Scrooge McDuck with yelling at Mickey Mouse and shit, it kind of softens the blow of real issues that are actually going on out there. That I feel that if we kind of expose kids to what it really is, or like at least make sure to remember that this is what goes on out there. It's not a meme. It's not a hashtag. There are people out there that are at 30 degrees Fahrenheit. They're out there nailing away on the walls outside of a roof so that they can have some money to put some food on the table for Christmas. And these kids, that guy's kids, aren't gonna get any toys underneath. They're just happy, that everybody has some food on the table for that night. Or maybe this kid isn't gonna get something amazing. He might just get like a small toy from Santa. But the idea is like these people are out there, they do exist, and when you get these kinds of stories like water it down, you lose the horrifying effect for who's intended for, because now the rich asshole who is like Scrooge is sitting there going, "Oh, they don't." Actually, let me make the perfect voice of the asshole who probably watches this movie and goes, "Oh my god, that is so very funny. That is so funny. Don't you think it's very funny? I'm just gonna keep paying my people and low wages because I'm so amazing. Aren't I amazing? I was told I was amazing. I was told I was great. I'm very terrific. It's so terrific that I do all the things that I do. But yes, I'm that amazing. I'm that cool. This is so very funny, and I just have to. I want to be in the next one. I want to be Scrooge in with the Muppets. That's what I want to do now. If that sounds like anybody out there is most likely a part of this rally. Yes.
I mean, Scrooge at the end of the Muppets version promises to raise Bob Cratchit's salary.
At the end of all of them, but it's like you get
Yeah.
there. He does it in every version, but you get there after a few series of whimsical laughter. And to me, the most effective one from the 80s, the one with George Scott, has this one scene which I never see in any of the adaptations. When he's with when he's with the Ghost of Christmas Present, where you hang out with this random family for like maybe 5-6 minutes, and they're out underneath a tunnel surrounded by like a garbage can of fire with trash on fire, and like they're freezing, and he's like, if there was only work, like Jesus, if there was only some work I could get my hands on, like honest to God work, I know we would be okay. But there's nothing. Like there's no work out there to be had, and the workhouses are shit. Like I just wish I could get my hands on a decent living so I could take care of you guys. And Scrooge looks at the Ghost of Christmas Present, who in that version is extremely hostile. That guy looks like he wants to smack somebody, wants to smack Scrooge every step of the way in every frame. He looks at Scrooge and he's like, he uses his own words. He goes, "Are there no poor houses? Are there no orphanages? But they'll die."
Many
Well,
would
then,
no,
good.
it's
You know the line better.
many would rather die. Yeah.
Many would rather die. And he's
Well, if
like,
they'd rather die, then they better do it and decrease the surplus population.
yeah. And then the president, like the Ghost of Christmas President, actually uses those words on him, and he looks at him. He's like,
Yeah.
"You use my words against me. My own words. You use them against me." He's like, asshole. That's what you were saying before you actually had to look at it. Now you've looked at it. You don't think that anymore, do you?
Mm-hmm.
Is that?
I mean, that line is in the Muppets version.
But is the
when
sequence...
the Ghost of Christmas Present recites, it's not when they're looking on, like an alleyway with people warming their hands in a garbage can. It's when they're outside the Cratchit's house.
Yeah, so it's still followed up though by cute old Tiny Tim doing his thing, being happy and cheerful. Most, you know, like it's not.
The whole point of Tiny Tim though is that he's cheerful even though he has good reason not to be. He's like a model.
Yeah, he is. He's a model of optimism.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
He's still surrounded. Like in this version, that version though, since he's a puppet, you lose the effect that he is sick and dying.
I think you're underestimating how well the Muppets work with showing a range of emotions. They're not just goofy. I mean, that scene. I mean that scene gets me every year, no matter how many times I've seen it.
I'm you know what? I will rewatch it because of the Ghastly Hallows.
This is the hill that I die on.
Because of Red, I will rewatch this goddamn movie. My fiance will be very happy that I sat down with her and watched this one. She'll be like, "What? Why?" She'll be like that scene in The Grinch. And that day, unbeknownst to him, the Grinch's heart grew 3 times larger. Doom, 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 doom. Break.
So sweet. My heart is so warm.
Yes. Congratulations, Bo. Red. I'm so angry.
Yeah.
You would think the Grinch would also fall under horror, but he just has the appearance of a horror.
Yo, if somebody were singing at you all day about what a piece of shit you are, you would not be a very nice person neither, would you? Imagine you were sitting there.
Try it.
Imagine you were sitting there one day just making a cup of coffee and you hear a voice just say, "And then this ugly son of a bitch got up with his green fur and his nasty yellow eyes and his green teeth with bad breath and decided to make himself a cup of coffee. What an asshole. Look at him." And they're like, "Dude, you're being really fucking mean. I'm all the way out here in the middle of nowhere with my dog minding my own business. And then he's out here."
Also, aren't you supposed to be singing all of these insults? At least sing them, for God's sake.
Fine then. You stink. Stank.
Also,
Stunk.
I feel like our impression of Jim Carrey's Grinch has devolved into just an impression of James Cagney.
Pretty
I'm a
much.
Grinch, see?
Well, I was trying to mimic what's his name's voice from the '60s cartoon.
Oh yes, yeah, from the Warner Brothers one.
Yeah, well, from the one from damn it, it was Frankenstein who did the voice of this guy, and I feel bad. I can't remember Frankenstein's name right now. Boris Karloff.
Boris Karloff. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
he narrated the original Grinch movie.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he's the one who narrates it. He's the one who's there, like, and then the Grinch stood up and he walked down the road. And meanwhile, the Grinch is just walking like, bim, 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 bim. He was so mean, so ugly, so fairy with his yellow eyes. And I was like, the Grinch looks in the camera all pissed off. I'm like, yeah, I'm with you, Grinch. I'm 100% there. And if those people looked at me all funny and they didn't like me going to their town because they think I was ugly and creepy, yeah, I would go down there and repossess all their shit too. Pretty sure they bought that all on Who credit. Bastards.
Who bucks?
Then they're still saying,
Whatever that.
I never knew what that meant.
Dabu Doris.
Dabu Dora, so that.
Like that.
Never knew what it meant. I just know it
Yeah, who
was a
knows?
thing.
Yeah.
But no, that's like the origins of the Christmas Carol. Though, like it was something that was meant to scare people back in the day, and I find that it's like I'm a believer that when you soften stuff up, when you kind of like make it digestible, you kind of lose certain effects, right? It's like watching a made for TV version of a horror movie. You know, you remember when you were a kid and you would watch like Halloween when it would come on TV, and there was like footage missing, so they had to like insert other footage so that you could finally watch it on TV. That's my interpretation of whenever like they make cartoon movies of A Christmas Carol. It's like, you guys do know that this is meant to kind of evoke something else, right? Not, puppets singing. Sorry, I keep picking on the puppets. Cartoons singing.
There are many cartoon versions too.
Yes, there are like 100 cartoon versions, and there's even one with Vincent Price narrating it.
Really?
Yep.
Is that the Mr. Magoo one?
Yes.
It is. Okay. Yeah.
Oh my God.
There's an interesting connection. Horror actors narrating cartoon versions of, or kind of variations on the Christmas Grump story with Boris Karloff and the Grinch and Vincent Price and A Christmas Carol.
Yes, Vincent Price. A lot of people these days have like a dislike of Vincent Price.
Why is that?
I don't know. Some people have told me that he was on like a lot of the worst movies ever made, and I'm like, have you ever heard of Ed Wood? But when it comes to like,
that was Bela Lugosi that was in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
yeah, I know he did it to kind of help himself pay for his heroin addiction. Because
at least according to Tim Burton.
No, I think like the estate of Bela Lugosi said
For real?
the same
Okay.
shit. Yeah, like he was kind of like really bad on drugs at the time, but by doing those movies, like it helped him wean the habit a little bit. I've never seen the Tim Burton one.
Oh, really? Oh, it's great.
It's on my list of like to watch. It's such an obscure one to get. Like all of Tim Burton's was like at the helm, right? They're like readily available. But that one is just not on the ramp. Like it's just one of those movies that like you go look up even some of Tim Burton's greatest films, that one never pops up.
I mean, it's easily my favorite of his movies.
Mine is Sleepy Hollow.
I do love Sleepy Hollow too.
Yeah, like that's mine though. Like
Yeah.
I like it because it's a straightforward horror movie. There's no gimmicks on that one. It's
Yeah.
not like his Christmas films, which are like, yes, there is creepy things here, but they're all happy and cute. Like that one is the creepy thing here is trying to kill people. You gotta run. This thing is actually killing someone. Whereas poor Edward Scissorhands, everybody's first emo crush.
Really?
Everybody's.
Mostly, most every girl I knew, that was their first emo crush. Edward Scissorhands.
I mean, I haven't had one yet, so I suppose it still could be him.
Well, every girl I ever met, like that was just one of those things. Like Edward Scissorhands was like that first, like, oh my God, he's all cut, and I just want to help him. Why won't the people like him? And I just want to give him his hands. And he's Johnny Depp. Nobody's ever seen that one.
Edward Scissorhands?
Yeah.
I've actually never seen it, no.
Really?
No, I know.
I'm not alone on this one. Yay.
You know what though? I'm not surprised. A lot of people skip on that one. Also, like it's weird, right? With Tim Burton, like he's his own. One day, like we could actually do like our own deep dive on his stuff because he has like everyone says he's one of these great amazing filmmakers, right? But the reality is like everybody always zooms in on like the same 4 movies with Tim Burton.
Oh, well, let me guess. Nightmare Before Christmas.
Yeah.
Beetlejuice.
Yep.
What else? I don't know what the other like
Batman.
essential would be. Oh, Batman. Big Fish.
Actually, I wish they would focus in on Big Fish.
Yeah, I never saw it, but I remember when it came out.
The other one.
I've never even heard of Big Fish.
Yeah, it was a good movie. The other one that I always also hear about.
Oh, Batman Returns.
That one. Which is a
Oh my
underrated Christmas movie.
Oh, and then his take on Alice in Wonderland. Oh my goodness.
Well, in the 90s, though, like, those are the ones. And then from there, after the 90s, it's pretty much anything that he does with Disney is what anybody looks at. Or
Wait.
Does for, like, kids is what anybody looks at towards the end
He
of that.
directed Plans of the Apes?
Yeah, he did.
Excuse me?
Yeah, he did.
The Charlie Chocolate Factory, that one I knew for the longest while, but like, oh, Corpse Bride, that was wasn't that? Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, but
Wasn't it?
nobody,
I mean,
those are the ones that nobody looks at. Maybe Corpse Bride people will take a stare at. But from there, it's like Willy Wonka, and then from there, like anything he does with Johnny Depp is what they choose to like laser focus on when he's sitting on like a pretty like extensive catalog of really good shit. He even did one a couple years ago with Big Eyes. It was a really interesting film.
okay.
Based on a true story, but it's like nobody looks at that. It's like same thing with Johnny Depp. Like Johnny Depp is sitting on like a lot of these amazing movies. But when that whole thing with his ex-wife was going on, everybody was just like, "Oh my God, he was Jack Sparrow." Like, cool. He's done like a lot of other cool shit, right? Oh my God, but he was Jack Sparrow.
And now he's resorted to making the sequel to Beetlejuice.
Like Donnie Brasco. You seen that?
Yep.
That's a great movie.
I used to live in the neighborhood that was filmed in.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Cool.
Once I got to like hear a seminar by Agent Joseph Pistone.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty fun listening to that. And he's like
the security at that. Oh my gosh.
When he was hanging out with Donnie Brasco, he was hanging out when they were filming Donnie Brasco. Like he's like, yeah, I was there for a consultant, then I had to leave. Like, because man, they recognized me.
You can't stay. Yeah. You can't stay in one place for too long.
Yeah, you had to go.
Especially that place.
And but yeah, it's like one of those things. Like everybody focuses on these things, and I'm like, you guys are acting like Johnny Depp wasn't making films when this whole thing was happening. It's just 2 asshole studios dropped him, but he had films. Like really good. He did a really good one, City of Lies, with about the Biggie Tupac shootings. Yeah,
Oh, really?
Yeah, everyone's like, oh my.
I've never even heard of that.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. It was a really
I think it was
interesting
on
film.
my list.
And everyone's like, no, we don't care about that. We just care that he might go work for the devil again. They'll give him all the alpacas and he'll go work for the devil again. Like, all these people fucking dropped him, and I'm like, yeah, they did. And a lot of his best films, I sound like a hipster when I say it, were when he was doing more like normal or like more toned down shit. Like one of my favorite movies of his was Secret Window.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. See, that was a fucking great movie, Secret Window.
Huh.
Or
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very well liked movie. Yeah.
Yeah, but that one's also obscure as shit, and now people don't look at that one and go, oh, yeah. Or What's Eating Gilbert Grape? The one
I've
where,
seen that. Yeah. Yeah.
Leonardo,
Where he's with Leo. Yeah.
Yep. Oh no, we're not gonna focus on any of that. All that, no, forget it. We're just mad that he's not Grindelwald anymore in a potentially lame ass series of films that shouldn't have really kept going after the first one. But hey. Back to Christmas, because we're here to keep punching. You know what? Let me actually put this.
Johnny, if you're listening,
Johnny, if you're listening, we like your body of work as an actor. Put down the mega pint of wine, and please get back to making good films again. Thank you. That's all I'll have to say on Johnny Depp. Please, please, please go back to making good films. All right? Don't make the Rum Diary. Don't do any of that. Please, please, please keep making good films. I enjoy your work. I don't really care for Jack Sparrow anymore. I think I'm like Pirates of the Caribbean out already.
Okay.
Does anybody here want to see another Pirates of the Caribbean movie?
Not at all.
Nope.
No.
Never saw a single one.
Oh, you've never seen them? Oh.
Well, the first one was really good.
I would assume so, otherwise they wouldn't make so many sequels trying to milk the thing to death.
Yeah, like that first one though was legit. Like I actually do go back and watch the first one on my own time. That was a really good film. Everything after that first one, I'm like, okay, I can do without. But it is what it is. He's like, I'll take the paycheck, and they're gonna keep giving it to me. So yes, but it is what it is. He went from being like a drunk with a needle problem, because that was a deleted scene in the original Pirates of the Caribbean films. He had like needle tracks on his arms and like bullet holes in the other. To just being a wild, kooky sailor around the world. But we can actually go. I'm actually going to use Johnny Depp as a segue here, because he bought as a rich guy that does need 3 ghosts to go visit him, because he bought a yacht for his private island. He does need to get scared straight into the universe. I have a question for you guys. What Christmas movie do you guys watch every year? And actually, that is weirder. What Christmas movie have you guys changed your opinion on over the years?
Oh, that's interesting. Let's see.
Like maybe you hated it when you were younger, but you love it now.
Yeah. Maybe A Christmas Story.
Hated
I remember finding it boring when I first saw it, and I didn't see it until I was maybe like, I don't know, 15 or something. Like I saw it kind of late. Yeah, I thought it was kind of boring. But as I watched it with friends, and it became more of a tradition for like viewing with friends than viewing with family. I started to really like it. Like maybe the fact that it's not it doesn't really have like a much of a plot. I mean, the only kind of plot is that he wants the Red Ryder gun. But beyond that, it's kind of episodic. It's just sort of like this happens, then that happens. And so maybe that part of it was sort of different for me, and I didn't like it. But after a while, it really grew on me. I really like it now.
I actually used to always like that one when I was a kid. because you're right, in one sense it is episodic, but it's all like stunts that he pulls to try to convince his parents to to get him that gun, and then like how when they backfire, how upset he gets as it happens, right? Like he thinks the world's coming to an end. But for me, what I liked about it was it kind of reminded me of my own trajectory when I was a kid of what Christmas was like, when you wanted that one thing, but you knew it was like every which way they were shutting you down. You're like, no, no. Then you get it, and you're like, yay, I got it for Christmas. I used to like it, but you want to know something interesting about A Christmas Story? The director is famous for making another very iconic Christmas film.
And what is that?
It's been remade and readapted 2 times since the original one was made in 1978, I believe.
Oh, hold on.
Bob Clark directed this one. You know which one I'm talking about?
I don't think so. What are you talking? Oh, wait, no.
1974.
1974 is the first version?
Made 2 times since. There's 3 versions of it.
No, I can't think of anything. I can think of a few Christmas movies that have been remade, but all of them, the original is from like 1943 or something like that.
So there's actually a plethora of horror Christmas films out there, and they're always met with controversy because a lot of people have the opinion that they should not be a thing. So the most notable one is Black Christmas, 1974.
Black Christmas, okay. Yeah.
With John Saxon, Livia Husey, Margot Kidder. That one was apparently that is the inspiration for Halloween.
Oh, interesting.
Yep, because it predates Halloween by like I think a whopping 2 years.
Okay, what's the plot? How is it similar to Halloween?
So it's actually one of the prototypes for slasher films. So sorority girls it's like the day before Christmas break. Sorority girls are all in their house. This nutcase breaks loose, and he goes back to his house, but that's where the sorority house is now at. So he starts killing the girls in the sorority house, but as he's killing them, he keeps calling the house in like this really odd voice, like yelling obscenities into the phone. Like, goddamn thing, I'm gonna let you go. God. He's talking like that into the phone and shit. And the idea is the way that it's set up, right? You're kind of set up with what's pretty much your first final girl with Olivia Husey. And there's a lot of risque things brought forward in that one too. A girl wanting to get an abortion, like willingly choosing to get an abortion. The idea of like how all these girls are kind of like, it's pretty much there is someone trying to help them, but you know there's only so much that the person trying to help them can do. And as it moves forward, like, you know, more things are revealed as things are going along with like the person who's actually going out there killing them and everything. But it does, you know, progress very, very, very like slowly, but very like quick, very like, strongly. It's a very great film. John Saxon, I think, was one of his first ones walking off of doing the eventually canceled Deadly Trio movies with Bruce Lee. So he went to do this one, and it's like, god damn, this guy was fucking awesome. I miss John Saxon. Yeah, like in my head canon, he's essentially just playing the dad from Nightmare on Elm Street. Watching, like it's just dealing with a Nightmare on Elm Street situation. But it is one of those films that the very interesting part about it was Bob Clark loved Black Christmas more than he loved A Christmas Story. And the tragedy is he is going to write, he had the sequel written for Black Christmas, and him and his son died in a car accident before they could begin filming.
Oh, that's awful. Did they ever film it?
No, they wound up not
Hmm.
knowing what to do because he had it written, or he was getting ready to go pitch it when he died. And then what they wound up doing was like in 2006 they remade it with the other Black Christmas, like 2006, 2005.
Does the script still exist?
I think it's out there.
Okay.
It might be out
Not
there.
not just like completely lost.
I don't know. That's one of those things. Like sometimes people leak scripts, quote unquote, and you don't really know if it is what it was or it wasn't.
Sure, yeah. You don't know if it's an authentic leak.
Yeah. But to my understanding, though, like he wrote it, and he had it ready to go when he passed away. Then they didn't. They wound up, not getting that. They got another remake, and then I think in like 2015 or so, or 2010 or so, they were discussing the idea of remaking it again, or at least doing a proper sequel, just recasting everybody or something. And they wound up remaking it a third time in that 2018 one, which I think it flopped. I don't. I didn't get a chance to see the latest one. It was on my list. I didn't get a chance to see it. Yeah, 2019 there was a remake, and they're both separate from the original one. But yeah, it is a thing. And
Right.
There was a short film in 2021 by Indiegogo, a fan site for Indiegogo did. And it'll be coming out supposedly next year. Oh wait.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah, or I think it's already out. I think it came out today.
Oh,
The fan film sequel.
what are we doing here?
today.
Let's go see it.
But yeah, so interesting history with Christmas Story, and unfortunately, Christmas Story got like 2 different sequels, and the Black Christmas just got remakes. So
I still have to watch the Christmas Story sequel. I think it came out last year.
I started watching it and I had to turn it off.
Yeah, I'm not expecting it to be good, but
I heard it wasn't.
it was
bad.
made, so I have to watch it.
I heard it wasn't bad. It's just it dealt with a subject that I'm not too keen with dealing with.
Oh, okay.
So I'm like, I turned it off.
Okay.
When my head is in the right place, I'll probably watch this. But yeah, Bolt, you have one?
Funny enough for me, I don't celebrate Christmas, so I'm just trying to recollect my short list of Christmas stuff, because the only thing that comes to mind is like Christmas specials of like cartoons. You have of course the elf that was playing in the background every freaking day of December. So
are your family like robots or something? No Halloween, no Christmas.
well, robots function off of predictable logic and pre-programmed behavior.
He's got an answer.
Yep, that sounds like a robot.
That's a pretty good one, actually.
A robot would have an answer for a question like that.
You would think. Let's see.
Right.
Let's.
It's the really advanced AI that gives evasive answers.
Pretty
Yeah,
much.
sure, advance.
Yeah.
I'll gonna go with. No, I'm gonna just go with Elf, because that's the one Christmas movie that I know enough of and have been injected to enough. Because I refuse to say Die Hard.
What?
Yeah.
What about The Godfather?
How do I phrase this?
Part of that takes place at Christmas time.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
However, I have not seen any of the Godfather films, and Pumpkin has already known that fact for the longest while.
My name is Jack.
Jack has known this fact for the longest while.
Pumpkinhead. That was a fucking movie with a bunch of hillbillies out in the middle of the sticks. They ran over that kid, that kid. And then their dad got really mad and he decided to rain hell on them and awaken Pumpkinhead.
And it ruined Christmas.
Yes, because all those kids were killed and the parents didn't get to celebrate the holiday with them. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I want to say Bad Santa, but I haven't finished that.
Oh yeah.
Actually, I think
Santa.
I did sat down and like actually watched Bad Santa uncensored, but it was like only one time, and I don't remember it that well.
Do you plan on watching it again?
I think I would rather just watch the sequel, but I know the sequel's not going to be as good.
Yeah.
Jack, have you watched Bad Santa?
I've seen Bad Santa.
You've seen Bad Santa. Okay. Spoilers for anyone who has not seen
This
Bad Santa.
20-year-old movie.
Okay. Hey, you know.
Oh my goodness, years old. Oh god.
People got shit to do, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so the thing about Bad Santa is what should have been the last shot was him holding the toy up to the door while lying on the ground about to die. Like, you know, he's within an inch of his life, but he manages to make it to the door to give the toy to the kid. That should have been the last shot of the film. But then it turns out that he's okay. He's going to get better. And it's like, it ruins the movie. The fact that he doesn't die, it's so interesting. The fact that he doesn't die makes the movie worse. It would have been such a great ending.
But we wouldn't have gotten a crappy sequel.
Yeah, and it would have saved us from a crappy sequel. Everybody would have won. But now the world is a worse place. Thanks, Billy Bob Thornton.
Billy Bob Thornton.
I remember when I saw that one though the first time, and I'm like, you know, this guy might actually die here. I actually thought that would have been a very fitting ending because he was kind of a wreck. You know,
kind of. He was absolutely a wreck. He made it look like, oh, I can just break into this person's house, be a fake surrogate father figure to this kid, and bang some random townie that's into having sex with Santa Claus, and everything will be hunky dory while committing crime. Like no, and he gets screwed over by the dwarf partner, rightfully so though, because he was tired of his shit, and he's like, "Oh no, you're getting sloppy. I need to put the end to you right now." I'm just like, you should have did that last job ago, but he got greedy.
Yes, because we are men and Lois.
Are we not men?
But no, like that one actually, believe it or not, over the years, I found myself with Bad Santa in particularly warming up to Bad Santa more as I got older.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why, but Bad Santa was one of those the Christmas idea of Bad Santa is one of those ideas at times where I'm like, you know what, we're all kind of close to being there.
It's one of those movies that maybe my experience with it is similar to A Christmas Story, because it's not a comedy, it's not a drama, it's a dark comedy. So it's not like a laugh-a-minute comedy. But so it's sort of isn't exactly what you expect it to be, but I definitely warmed up to it.
Yeah, it was one of those ones that like suddenly you just find yourself warmed up to it.
Mm-hmm.
The older I got, the more warmed up to it I wound up feeling with it. But it is one of those films that like it's not for everybody. Like a lot of people like to watch, you know, around this time of year, a lot of people like to watch those dick movies on Hallmark. You know the ones I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like those movies. Like I don't call them Christmas movies. I call them dick movies. A lot of them, you know, they're all about just some lady going to a small town and getting some dick. That's the premise of all those movies. They just go to a small town and get some dick. And, they learn through dick the true meaning of Christmas and that living in the city is bad. Anybody care to counter that argument? Anybody?
It reminds me of one film I saw last Christmas with Emilia Clarke in it. I think that was the last Christmas theme movie I willingly saw. And that was, when did that come out again? I think it was.
You go and pick the most fucking depressing Christmas movie you could possibly pick.
Look, I didn't think when going to that movie. I didn't think too much of it. Okay. Oh, it came out in 2019. I wonder. I turned my brain off that year. It was for Emilia Clarke. Okay. I was going through a phase, and you know what? I learned my lesson, and we'll just move on from there.
You learned your lesson that she's not really Khaleesi.
I learned my lesson that a lot of movies that she tends to be in tend to be average at best and meh at worst.
I mean,
this movie was no exception to that.
I didn't like that Terminator movie.
There was only one movie that was an actual exception to that, and it was Me Before You. Another depressing one. Oh man.
So that means your life consists of just watching really, 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 really fucking depressing movies, huh?
There was a.
That's not a no.
No. Nowadays, no. Nowadays, it's just whatever random thing someone is just like tries to get me to watch at that time of the year or the month. I would say late high school career, maybe early college. Definitely in high school, yes. Watching depressing stuff was my bread and butter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sometimes that's what you need.
Depression.
Sometimes you're sad and you just want to have those feelings reflected back to you.
But on a Tuesday, randomly.
Tuesday sucks.
Tuesday doesn't suck. It's not great, but it's not bad.
It's horrible.
It's better than Monday.
I would say it took me 19 years to finally see the Polar Express, and that was only because I mentioned to a friend of mine, I said, "Oh, I haven't seen this movie." He's like, "Oh, we're watching this now." I'm just like, "Okay, I guess I'm stuck here in this apartment watching this children's movie."
You're not stuck. You chose to stay. You could have at any given point reached for a blunt instrument and swung it at the TV and walked out.
He had a projector, so it was projected onto the wall.
Swung it at the projector and
that thing costs so much. I'm not paying for that. I'm not destroying a projector that shoots in like 4K. Hey. Crazy.
But see, there was an option to,
that would just be paying extra for a bad movie.
You got a point, but still, it was on the. It is on the
logic is sound.
It is in the cards.
Yes, to your point, I did chose to watch the movie.
Yes.
Despite his kids being making the experience very distracting.
You also could have, taken off your belt and started swinging it at the children.
Well, okay. We here at the Ghastly Hallows do not promote beating other children.
In lieu of striking the children, just tell them about Krampus.
Yes. And then you reenact when they throw them in the sack and beat them.
One kid will just keep questioning and probably won't buy it unless it comes from his mother. And she's an Hispanic mother, so you know what? I think it'll come better from her than from me. And the other is a toddler who has the strength of a Hulk.
That's not what the Hispanic mother would do. You wouldn't threaten with Krampus. Like, I'm not going to Krampus you. Krampus is going to beat you. I am. And then you just kind of learn. I know from experience, Bo. You just learn.
You heard of Krampus? I am Krampus.
Yep. You don't need Krampus in this house.
This house, I am Krampus.
I'm Krampus around here, bitch. and then you just learn to look down whenever you see a mother yelling at their child. You just know not to say shit. Just quiet.
Next time I see that in the grocery store, I'm just gonna imagine giant goat horns on that
Evil
person.
horns.
Mm-hmm. There's that meme
Why is this
going
like
around.
a lot of like evil association always goes with goat horns or the goat. It's just so funny.
There's got to be an interesting history behind that. Why are goats
You guys
evil? I
are.
mean, I think it's got to have something to do with the the, the Old Testament.
It does.
Yeah.
At least I'm not. I've always looked this up, but it's something that always pops up in what other in third-hand Christian folklore. And the reason why I say third-hand is I've never seen the Bible verse where they describe the devil. Right? Never seen it.
Right. I don't. From what I recall, I don't think there is any like physical description.
Yeah, there never is. But the description of the devil is most commonplace is that when the story that I've always heard, right, which is what a lot of like artists kind of base their things around is when God banished the devil out of Satan, out of hell, out of heaven, cast him into hell. He has the punishment. The punishment that the devil has, which is why he always hates God, is that God deformed the devil. And he gave him horns and goat feet, thus deforming him. What was the most beautiful creation that he had, he deformed him to make him look like what pride looks like, which is things that you can't hide. So although the devil can take many forms, he can't change certain parts of his appearance. He can't change the horns, and he can't change the hoofs. So that's where, to my understanding, that always comes from. But there is something a little more fucked up about Krampus and the elves. You guys want to know it?
Do I?
Yeah.
Do you think I want to?
That should take us out.
It's actually a very fucking racist thing that happens in that part of the country, too.
All right.
So if you ever look at Sinterklaas, right? In older depictions, the elves are portrayed as these black little creatures.
Right.
I think we all know where I'm going with this. The elves were supposed to be originally black slaves. And then over time, they switched them to be black skinned from all of the soot in the workhouse. And then after that, to my understanding, they decided to just make them not black. They're just small people, and they're elves. Merry Christmas, everybody. There is going to be a goat man coming down to beat your kids and kidnap them and take them to the North Pole to make toys, where they will eventually meet the black people who are also there working under Sinterklaas, and the world keeps on spinning. Because we're not scaring rich people anymore with puppets. We're just singing when they walk out the room, entertaining them, because that's what we do in this world. And we're just going around, not scaring them, when they're losing the message. And in some other worlds, Christmas, we're all just here to get drunk for Christmas, like Billy Bob Thornton, which is why that movie's aged on me very well.
And that is the summary of Jack's views.
Yes.
On Christmas.
And what about your views on Christmas, everybody?
It was a beautiful toast.
Yes. What about your views on Christmas, everybody? I need to at least leave everybody on a positive note, as opposed to me being all miserable and shit on Christmas. Bells are ringing.
It's the most wonderful time of the year. And I say, God bless it.
Yeah, humbug. Oh.
But on a serious note, let's not just designate Christmas to be the time of year where people to like give a shit. Let's just keep that to be a every day, every year, all year round type of attitude as best as we can, to the best of our abilities.
If I may, at once sincerely and polemically quote the Muppet Christmas Carol.
Yeah.
It is the season of the spirit. The message, if we hear it, is make it last all year. There you go.
You know, there
It's a
was
perfect movie, man.
just one time. Do you guys ever watch the old X-Men cartoon Christmas special? They did have one. The old 90s X-Men
No,
cartoon had a Christmas special. So, in the X-Men cartoon, Storm, she was like the voice of reason on that show next to Professor X, closes out the show with the idea that Christmas, it doesn't really just come around once a year. That idea is very, like, foolish, right?
Okay.
Because the idea should be that if the whole point of Christmas is to gather around your loved ones and, you know, just enjoy each other's company over nice food and, you know, a good, essentially warm home, then for everybody, then for those who have that stuff all year round, every day is Christmas.
Yeah.
You know, we don't need to rely on a tree. Because I know people like this who like go, it's the only time of the year we can be happy. No, it's not. If you have to wait 11 months out of the year to be happy, and then some people are even from September putting up the tree because they just can't wait because that's the only time of the year they're happy, then that's where my like biggest gripe comes from Christmas. You are missing way more than that. Christmas is not the only time of the year you should be happy. It's not the happiest time of the year. It's just the most festive time of the year.
Sure.
You know, like that's something that has been a part of mankind since even before Christ walked the earth and the Bible was spread everywhere. People were celebrating some form of winter celebration, you know, some winter festival. Yule, Saturnalia. It's always been something. We're always.
Yeah, I feel like traditions to mark annual transitions is one of the human universals. You probably find something like that in every culture.
Yes, and it's always been in every culture. So for me, like, part of the reason why I after a while became very disgruntled with Christmas was when people keep telling you it's the only time, it's the happiest time of the year. It's not. You know, like, to me, the happiest time of the year is Halloween. To some people, the happiest time of the year is actually springtime because that's when the harvest comes to life and, you know, they have work.
Yeah.
For other people, the happiest time of the year is summer, you know? But everybody likes to tell you if you're not happy on Christmas or you don't think Christmas is the happiest night, you're a Grinch, you're a Scrooge, you're miserable.
Sure.
You're not, man.
Yeah.
Christmas is a big celebration. It's a very festive time, and you're more than welcome to, you know, have all the fun you want on Christmas. You do you. However, like Bolt just said, Christmas should also not be the only time you go and to put some time in a soup kitchen. Christmas is not the only time of the year you should really think about those less fortunate than you. Because that's what they want. They just want us for this time of the year to empty our pockets so that they can get their bonuses. Throughout the year, you know something? If you got extra shit throughout the year, extra clothes that you're not wearing anymore, that's still in good condition, wrap it up in a bag and take it down to Goodwill. Fine. I would say Salvation Army is other places, but they're so picky. Goodwill's the only one that does is just take it, no questions asked. Go down to a Mission. Drop off the clothes there. Blankets, stuff that you're not going to use anymore, that you might just be hoarding. Take it. Toys that kids don't play anymore. Christmas should not be the only time of the year where you're like, all right, it's time to cycle out. Like, no, throughout the year, hey, these toys aren't being used anymore. Pick them up, wrap them up, take them to the kids out there that are less fortunate, that really don't have anything. Don't just go, oh yeah, no, these kids over here that are family can just, no, like go down to the Mission, because again, those toys, a lot of the time, they get cycled right back out to kids that can use them. You know?
Yeah. I mean, do you think that Christmas makes it seem like there's only one time of year where it's appropriate to do that, or do you think that maybe it reminds us to do that? Like, do you think that we would be doing that stuff more often if it weren't for Christmas?
I think it should remind us to do this throughout the year.
Okay.
And I
Yeah.
think the media has kind of created this monster where it kind of tells you this is the time of year you should do it because it only comes once a year.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I would see that more as just so like, are you talking about charities that like really up their advertising this
Yeah.
time of year? Yeah. Well, I mean, I see that as just kind of taking advantage of just the spirit of the season. You know, people are thinking about that kind of thing anyway. You want to capitalize on their generosity, and maybe it's a feedback loop. You know,
Maybe.
it's like the charities tell us this is the time of year because we already think it's the time of year, but the fact that the charities are capitalizing on that reinforces the idea that this is the one time of year where it's appropriate to do that.
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
it turns into a thing. I'm like, ugh,
Yeah, and I'm not sure if there's a way out of that, but
not
I
anymore.
see that. Yeah.
Like honestly, the way out of it in my book is, and it's not. I doubt it's ever gonna happen. Is to encourage people to do more volunteering. Like I meant to do a
Yeah.
volunteering this year, but the job that I was working at got just so out of control that I couldn't do it. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping, to actually start doing more volunteer work, not just, posting about issues or reading articles or talking about it. Like, homelessness is an issue.
Yep.
There's a soup kitchen out there. Like, I'm not a Christian. I'm not a big church person. But, if they have a mission out there and they need, like, people out there in the soup kitchens to go around help giving out food, people, to help, like, maybe lend your van so you can go out there and help, get jackets or clothing out to people. Sometimes they don't have that. I'll do it.
Mhm.
But, stuff like that once in a blue, just do it. Because sometimes, like, they don't have people to do it. Or folks that, like, there are dogs out there that they don't have anybody to walk them, and they're, like, at these shelters. And some shelters, like, they don't treat the dogs well. But
Yeah.
unfortunately, like, we don't think about this stuff. Not everybody sits down to think about this stuff throughout the year. And
Yeah.
the further we go, like, you know what? I'll bring this up in our own culture right now. We make everything a joke by memeing about it. And
Sure.
some people are really spreading a message by memeing about it. But really, we make everything a joke. And it becomes digestible.
Yeah.
It's not, none of that stuff is funny. Like, what's going on in the Middle East is not funny. None of that's like that. I've seen people like try to belittle death this year by making memes and jokes about it.
Mm-hmm.
Some people out there, like, it doesn't, you need to, sorry, like, back and then I get forward. All over the place.
Sure.
But this year, like, I saw people like memify death. Like, people die and they try to make light of the situation. And
Yeah.
it's like, I get it, maybe that's your way of coping, but it's not funny. Like, death
I
is
mean,
not a thing.
I mean, we laugh to keep from crying. I think there's something to that.
Oh, yeah, no, there is people who laugh to keep from crying because, like, it's the only way you can do it. But, making fun of people this year was just one of those things that I saw where it's like, I don't even want to begin to talk about that one. But then at Christmas time, those same people are out there, remember the homeless, remember those less fortunate than you. I'm like, weren't you laughing about some missing people earlier this year on a boat? Weren't you, like, saying, oh, those
Yeah.
people shouldn't be
Well,
here in the first place?
Oh my goodness, that was this year.
Yeah, like that, like when the joke has some sincerity to it, where like you get a feeling that they actually don't want where they actually are happy that some people died in a submarine.
Oh, that wasn't even the submarine. The submarine thing, like, that's another thing.
That was the one that got the most coverage.
That's one
There
that
was
those
something
coverage.
that
Like there was that boat with those migrant people that went missing. And
Oh,
some
right.
people were like,
Yes.
doing the Doppler radar jokes. And I'm like, what's wrong with you, bro?
Mhm.
That's not funny. These are people that are missing. Like, people are like making Gilligan's Island jokes out of that. That's not funny.
Yeah, yeah.
But
I mean, it's like I think that you can joke about anything, but when it becomes sort of like your default to like share memes about it and like just sort of never take anything seriously,
yeah,
that yeah, that kind of rubs me the wrong way.
or like all you do is just share memes. Like,
Yeah.
Come on, man. Like, I can say on my end, my limitation is I'm a working person.
Hmm.
I don't have the ability to do much, but there are some people out there that literally they sit all day long, just fucking memeing on the same things. And I get it. Like, well, what else can you do? It's a coping mechanism. Like, fine, dude. This is why, like, for a while I had to shut off a lot of the media stuff on my social media feeds. I got tired of getting these memes about how the marketing crisis sucks. I know. What can I do?
Hmm. Yeah.
It's home the pay wage sucks. I know. What can I do? After a while, I'm like,
Hmm.
can we go back to posting fucking cat videos or something, being cute? Like, I'm over here to get distracted. I really don't need to hear "Eat the Rich"
Yeah.
like 18 more times from like 20 different people, Like, but please. But after, like, when it comes to Christmas, these are the same people that are like, how can you not have any Christmas spirit? You need to have more cheer. Dude, throughout the year, when I was working at Geico for a little while there, I had it in my paycheck where it's like, yeah, just go for the harvest. That's the thing Geico had for a while. Like, for a few months I had that on there. Like, just give to the harvest so that they can get the canned drives out to people.
Yeah.
Then there was people out there who were on the same boat saying, oh, how are you not have any Christmas cheer this year? Well, dude, I have cheer and I gathered with my friends. However, this isn't the only time of the year I plan on doing that. The only gimmick is that there's a tree in the corner. That's about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I can eat.
Yeah. 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 I mean, there's you don't have to like Christmas to be, like a generous or warm-hearted person. It's fine if you don't like Christmas.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, like it's one of those things. Like both.
It's not. Yeah, it's not synonymous with virtue.
It's not. It's like going to church doesn't make you a good person.
Sure.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like there's some people that's a common argument. Like going to church doesn't make you a good
Mhm.
person. Posting
Mhm.
all these same pro things on the internet doesn't make you a good person. There's no real bellwether. But in my book, it's kind of like, hey, yeah. And I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite because I just talked about the things that I did. Just do stuff, man. That's it.
Yeah.
You know?
There's always a call to action in the
Yep.
podcast. Are we still live?
Yeah, we're still live.
We are. Okay. Okay. Yes. Yes. The call to action.
We're live, pal.
We'll do it live.
Yeah, we'll do it live. Fuck it.
Still my favorite video of all time.
But
Cool. Yeah.
yes. So it is
No,
it is a festive time of the year. However, it's not the happiest time of the year. I wish people would get out of that mindset. That's my views on Christmas.
Okay, yeah. Well, and I think that what you've had to say about the degradation of Christmas traditions has been interesting.
Yeah, elaborate if you need if you can a little more.
No, I can't. That was it.
All right. Bolt.
I mean, you help elaborate what I said earlier, but only thing I would add would be happy holidays to each and every one of you listening out there. Excited to keep doing this again with you all in the new year. You know, probably I think a week ahead of myself there because we still have next week. But it's putting that out there now.
Oh boy, I just missed like a lot of the comments because I was browsing through the Black Christmas and Bad Santa, and I completely didn't get the comments on my other thing over here. I'm just seeing them now. Oops. Was anybody paying attention to the comments today? Bolt?
I was, but it's just like it was like this. The recent one that just came in. Let's see here. Yeah, our good old Morley Gray.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's really hard to kind of inject because it felt like you already talked to Def about wherever she brought it. It was more. She was just more of like an added notation to what what was brought up at the time.
Oh, okay. Oh yes, I'm reading them now.
Yeah.
And I wasn't talking about people who joked about the billionaires. I was talking about people who were joking about the migrants. I actually saw that. People joking about the migrants going missing. And then they were coming and talking about helping homeless people out for some reason this year. It was so strange. I can't even begin to go into that one. It was just such a weird thing. I'm like...
You gotta love virtue signaling.
Yeah, it was just such a thing. I'm like, why are you joking about the missing migrants, and then you're talking to me about not having Christmas cheer, telling me to remember those less fortunate than you this year. You just... All right, everybody. I've kind of been I went a little too dark on Christmas this year, but I felt like get that one off our chest. Yeah. So,
yeah,
I guess this is a good time to call it.
Yeah, I think so.
All right. So, signing out.
Alrighty.
Yeah. Where's that? All right. So, this episode was a little weird. We went into some funny parts, dark parts. It will be up on Spotify and Apple. We're up on there now. Should be up there within tomorrow or so.
Okay. Yeah.
Wherever you guys get your goodness. And I will sign off.
Yeah.